time. And now we were told, we know what will make you feel better, just buy more stuff. Doesn't make any difference what it is, just get it. Look here, Canada Bill Jones says it's morally wrong to allow suckers to keep their money. We know what will make you feel better. Things were moving forward in America. We thought we were on the upside until 9/11. This is smoking gun card number 1. And look at the caption, terrorist nuke. What you're seeing here is clearly the Twin Towers and the first strike on the first tower in between from the second strike on the second tower. This is definitely the strike, and what you're seeing is the airplane hitting in. If you were to see the actual card, you actually see the fuselage and you see the wingtips and you see parts of the plane. So it's clearly a plane. Notice also it's not the top, it's not the bottom, it's not from the front, it's from the side. And it's just down from the top, which is exactly where the plane hit. So the problem with that was we also had early warning. The FBI had been given warning that there were terrorists in the United States training for an attack. They didn't say where, they didn't say when, but you know that should have been enough to give us ample opportunity to start keeping watch on these groups. Here's a little closer up of it, and that's exactly how it looks. An explosion is from the building from the side. Now let me ask you something. If you hit something from the side, wouldn't it topple over? And if you hit something from the back, wouldn't it still topple over? But if you take something and hit it from the ground, in other words, if you take the foundation out from under it, what happens to the building? It comes straight down. And that's exactly what both towers did. Now, let me give you a little food for thought. Let's go back to that. Terrorist nuke. Is it possible that the reason that that car was labeled terrorist nuke is because of the suitcase bombs? How many have heard of the suitcase bombs in America? Yeah. How many remember a 1970s movie called Telephony, starring Charles Bronson? And in that movie, what it was about Russian agents during the Cold War who were sent over to the United States to plant bombs and other military strategic weapons in areas around the United States, like power plants, things like that. And then they were deprogrammed. In other words, after the Cold War, nobody bothered to go back and deprogram them. So here they were programmed to do these things, and then all of a sudden they couldn't remember that they were even a KGB agent, and they started taking roles in America like mothers and daughters and sisters and, you know, husbands, prominent men. Until one day, a man from Russia that was one of the agents started calling people up one by one, and he'd call them on the phone, and he would give them the coded word message, and all of a sudden that program would come back, and just like zombies, they would go out and start setting those things off. Those technologies exist right now, and we know that we have agents over here right now that are able to do that. We also know that these suitcase bombs are anywhere from 1.3 megatons up. Now, think about that. That would be enough to explain why, for about 12 days after the 9/11 attacks, they registered heat, immense heat at ground zero where the building came down. Not saying that's what happened, just food for thought. I don't know if you've seen this or not. Look carefully there. That's the demonic face that appeared in the smoke on the Twin Towers. If you've never seen that before, it's real interesting. Now, at first, there was people coming out saying, well, that was just a hoax. That was just a picture that they drew on there. No, because that's taken from CNN. The CNN news crew are the ones that actually were filming the building at the time it was burning when they saw this appear. Now, here's something else to think about. Smoke doesn't usually form something lighter. In other words, if it's smoke, it's either going to be black, or it's going to be white, or it's going to be gray. It's not going to be black and then be gray in the middle. Okay? But what you're seeing here is the black smoke so that the face can clearly be shown. And the face is gray. If you look down there at the bottom, you clearly see the goatee, the nose, the mouth, the eyes, and the horns. These were known as fire spirits in Satanism. These were sacrificial spirits. If you take demonic bands, satanic bands like Metallica, Limp Bizkit, Black Sabbath, some of those groups, first you got to pray over them, because if you don't pray over them, they won't burn. But if you plead the blood of Jesus over those things, like the CDs or the albums, you can actually toss those into a fire, and as they're burning, you'll see little red spirits come up in those flames every time. Those are known as fire spirits. Here's a better picture of it. Look at the lighter one, the one on your right. Yep, that'd be your left. CNN, look at the smile on the face. And then over to the other side, you see the lighter picture, clearly describing the nose, the mouth, you see the eyes and the horns. Watch how black that smoke is. And right in the middle there is the face. And they said that they've never seen anything like that before. Even the news crew said that when they were filming it, they said that there was a face in the smoke. And the producers said, well, we're not seeing anything. And they started filming up a little bit higher, and sure enough, it appeared. The other thing about that is, if it's a smoke face, and it's just being made by smoke, it doesn't just stay there. This stayed there for at least 12 to 13 minutes. Interesting enough, there was another group called the Coup, which means takeover, a rap group that was getting ready to release their first album 2 months before the 9/11 attacks. And look at the cover. Here you're seeing the guy pushing the player, and the explosion on the Twin Towers is exactly the same place. Interesting. 2 months before. Smoking gun card number 2, the Pentagon. And what you're seeing here is the Pentagon, and on this illustration, you see the fire in the middle, but notice that the Pentagon is still operational around the outside. And isn't that the way that the Pentagon supposedly was hit? They said that a plane came in and exploded into the side of one of the sides of the Pentagon, but yet and blew that whole thing out and on fire, but yet the rest of the Pentagon was operational, exactly as it happened. And that's the most important military building being hit and on fire. Remember, when they do something, they hit it where you're going to remember it the most, like a monument or something that stands for the nation, okay? And the 9/11 attacks. So this is definitely the 9/11 attacks that were planned, they were carried out. And remember, we gave them the idea. And I told you about the smoking gun. Goal, population reduction. In order to control the mass